Hello there, folks. Hope you're doing well today. It's a sunny day in Tokyo here in January of 2025, as it often is in the winter time here. It's almost every day sunny, but often very windy as it is today, so you might be able to hear the wind making some noise through the windows and stuff like that. Yeah, well, I live here up high, actually, on the 12th floor of this new apartment that I moved into. Close, as I mentioned before, to the new Tatsumi ice rink that will open in the fall, which I'm quite excited about. And a good thing about this apartment is that because I'm on the 12th floor, I have an opportunity to get some very good exercise on a daily basis. I generally don't take the elevator down. The stairs are just around the corner here. I usually almost always walk or run down the steps. If I'm carrying a lot of stuff, I'll take the elevator up sometimes, but quite often I even take the stairs to come up. And I think it's making me stronger, as you would expect. I was a little bit over exuberant last week. I ran down 2 steps at a time all the way. And a little bit later on, I got up from dinner and was wondering, what's the matter with my ankle? And then I realized, maybe I shouldn't have run down all those steps all at once. You know, I often talk about how you should make changes in your life gradually. It doesn't matter what the change is, make it gradually. And we can avoid pain and injuries by making gradual changes. So now I don't just go out the door and take 2 steps at a time. I go 1 step at a time, and then as I get lower and lower down, I'll take maybe the bottom step 2 steps, and then the bottom 2 steps. The bottom, 2 steps at a time for 2 steps, left and right. And then as I get towards the bottom, maybe then take 2 steps at a time as I get warmed up. So that seems to work a little bit better. So I can have the discipline that way, and I have the experience to know that it's important to take care of your body to prevent injury so that you don't have interruptions in your training. And nobody can feel my pain like I can. Nobody can feel your pain like you can. And it's important for you to acknowledge your pain. And, in life we want to seek pleasure and avoid pain, generally speaking. Pain is a message, like don't do it or ease off on it. And we've heard this aphorism, no pain, no gain. And sometimes coaches will say, suck it up, or, stop making excuses, or dig deep, or mind over matter, or these sorts of things. But pain is something that we do want to pay attention to, and coaches need to listen to their skaters when they express something about, my knee hurts or my ankle hurts. And it's not like we want to be hypochondriacs either, where we're always complaining about something. But I think it's it's a little abusive for coaches to ignore skaters when they talk about certain pain that they have, because if they push them and just say, I don't want to hear about your pain, come on, we came here to train, mind over matter, and keep pushing on, because that pain is going to get worse and worse if it's not addressed, and eventually your skater is going to be sidelined, and it really amounts to abuse. You know, and there are some extreme cases of this, and I experienced this past week. Our company was treating a skater who had very, very bad pain in her foot and ankle, and we were trying to help her. We made some figure skating insoles for her, and we gave her a program to recover from those injuries. And she talked about her coach as being quite the martinet, quite the dictator, not wanting to hear about her pain. And there are various levels of abuse that we can point to with regard to a coach-skater or coach-athlete relationship. And there's kind of a spectrum of abuse, and you know, at the extreme end of the spectrum might be some, you know, some very inappropriate sexual abuse or physical abuse that amounts to slapping or kicking or punching, whether or not it causes bruises or lacerations. It's kind of psychologically damaging, if nothing else. And sport is, after all, just that. It's sport. It's a leisure activity. It's not like warfare. It's not a matter of life and death. And yeah, if we want to be competitive, we don't want to be softies either. We want to push ourselves to the limit, but determining what that limit is needs to be more and more something that an athlete determines through their sensations of pain and through understanding their own limitations. And a coach can help a skater to identify and to understand how to manage pain and injury. But ultimately, coaches should listen to skaters when they have complaints. And yeah, so coming down a little bit from those extremes of abuse from coaches might be even, I would argue, yelling at skaters. We often see coaches raise their voices and scream or yell at their skaters, and I would also consider this to be, in almost all cases, an instance of abuse. I mean, yeah, if a skater is going through a run-through and you need to raise your voice to be heard, keep going, come on, you can do it, push, push, or, you know, something like that. But to yell at a skater because they're not meeting your expectations is kind of a type of abuse, I would argue. And, you know, coaches need to take more responsibility, I would say, for the frustration that they might feel with their athletes, and for the frustration that athletes themselves might feel. Often it's an incompetence in coaching method that leads to a shortcoming of results. If you don't teach in a proper sequence where you're building skills gradually, and your expectations are for a skater to perform skills where they don't have a proper technical foundation, yeah, it's going to be frustrating. And so that's one of the things I would say in the case of coaches who find that their skaters are not living up to their expectations, coaches, you should look inward rather than blaming your skaters always. Sometimes coaches live sort of vicariously through their skaters. Sometimes maybe a coach hasn't had a satisfying career themselves, and they're sort of maybe lacking in self-esteem because of it, and so they want to control their skaters too much, and their desire for their skaters to succeed goes sort of beyond the skater's best interest. Skaters progress at their own rate, and while we want to push them to realize the best progress that they're capable of, we don't want to expect from them more than they can deliver as well, right? Yeah, so I just wanted to raise this issue about the levels of abuse and the best, healthiest coach-athlete relationship that we can consider. Ultimately, coaches, you want to create independence and self-esteem in your athletes, and that is going to give the best long-term chances for success and gratification in sport. An athlete who is, whipped and yelled at, they might, just through fear and not wanting to disappoint the coach, yeah, maybe they'll have some successes, but they'll be wounded for life. Their careers will be short, and they'll have to deal with the trauma and abuse that arises that later on in life. So we want to put things in perspective, certainly, and we don't want to be power mongers as coaches. Part of a formula for good coaching also would be to expect from skaters what they're capable of. I would also argue that it's a mistake in coaching to sacrifice yourself too much, to be too altruistic, to be too much of a sycophant, to be too much of a servant for your skaters. You want the skaters to grow up as much as they're capable of. And I would say that often parents and coaches, they baby their kids. They coddle them too much. I mean, here in Japan, you'll see often like a 5 or 6 year old little kid with a backpack on his back riding in the subway by themselves. And a 5-year-old kid is capable of doing that. This is just an example, and yeah, it's a very, very safe society over here. And so, there's other considerations as well, but just in general, you want to help nurture self-esteem in your athletes by respecting their ability to understand and their ability to do things for themselves. I think this is quite important. You might nowadays skaters, like unlike in my day, often we would be there at the Toronto Cricket Skating and Curling Club, maybe in the evening or early in the morning or sometime in the day, when there were no coaches even in the ice rink at the time. So we developed a sense of independence, and coaches, you know, so skaters are often like coached all the time. The whole time they're on the ice, they're in a lesson, whether it's a group lesson or a private lesson. And okay, well, even if it's that way, you want to, maybe as an example, you might say to your skater, okay, like go ahead and warm up. I want to watch your warm up. And then give them 5 or 10 minutes or so and just observe what they do and then comment on it later. That's just one example how you can try to get skaters to think for themselves and to act and to grow up and become, you know, independent human beings and better athletes in the long run. So I've broached a number of topics here relative to a healthy coach-athlete relationship, and I'm sure that this is the type of topic that you could weigh in on, and you have that opportunity in the comments. So let me know what you think. You can, I'm sure, add something to this conversation, or perhaps you disagree with something I've said, or maybe you really my take on things really resonated with you and you want to let me know about that to encourage me. We want to encourage our athletes. We want to give them as much praise. Wherever we can find something that they do that's good, we want to let them know, congratulations, well done. You know, before we give some criticism and try to improve something that they're not doing well, we want to find those opportunities to say good things about them, because when we're in a good mood and as our self-esteem becomes better, we perform better as athletes. Few things for you to keep in mind. So I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of my day, and I hope you will too. Bye for now.